I tend to look at all of this through the lens of the message of Our Lady of Fatima, as I'm sure you do as well, and just thinking about the vision that the Vatican released in the year 2000 about the bishop dressed in white walking through a half-ruined city full of dead bodies of clergy and laity and people on their way to be martyred and such. There could be a spiritual meaning to that as well, but I think it, in light of other prophecies, it could very well be a literal physical chastisement. I don't think that's out of the question. And then also, of course, we know that there's a missing part of Our Lady's words that we really need. The first secret of Fatima was the vision of hell, and the children clearly knew what they were seeing, and yet Our Lady still took the time to explain to them, "You have seen hell, where the souls of poor sinners go." So it seems ludicrous to believe that she would show them this much more difficult vision to decipher without giving them what our friend Chris Ferrara calls the soundtrack to the vision. She had to have explained what was going on to them. She couldn't have just left it with that vision. So we know there's something left, and we know that it begins with the words, "In Portugal, the dogma of the faith will always be preserved," etc. So we need to know what that etc. says, I think.
So that's a really disturbing statement. Why? Because when Portugal went pro-abortion, I thought, oh no, what can that possibly mean? Because it says, in Portugal, the dogma of faith will always be retained. It's like when Ireland went first pro same-sex marriage, then pro-abortion. St. Patrick sat on that rock forever to get the promise from our Lord. But our Lord also says in the scriptures, "When I return, will I find faith?" Like it's a question.
Right.
So you combine all that, it starts to paint quite the reality check for us. How bad could it get? I remember talking, this is now 4 years ago, with Bishop Schneider, maybe 5, and I asked him, for what should we do? What's the best thing we can do right now with our kids, our families, and home, and whatever? He said to me, "Prepare your children for martyrdom." What's your sense of things upcoming that way?
Yeah, I think we could very well be facing some very challenging times in the near future, spiritually, of course, but also materially, and we should prepare accordingly, kind of as Noah did with his family at the prompting of the Lord. I think one thing that we definitely need to do is be forming our children in the truth of the faith from solid, reliable resources, because ultimately what we face, what's been the case from the beginning, is a battle of the truth of God versus the lies of the devil, and then through his intervention, the world and the flesh giving us the same problems. So we need to be teaching our children the faith from solid sources,